My child was kidnapped by my sister's ex during their breakup, and I'm pissed that my sister didn't tell me they were having problems or that he took their dog hostage earlier that day. Posted by you/wrong_cockroach 2338. Posting on a throwaway as I frequently use Reddit, and my family might see this. Just to start off, everybody is okay. He was caught and arrested and is currently in jail with a bond his family can't afford. I don't know where to start, but I guess I'll begin by saying I'm traumatized. As a parent, the second worst thing that could happen, happened, the first being death. I didn't know where he was for 6 minutes, but it felt like 30. I feel like I was the last person to be contacted and informed about what was going on. I'm angry. I'm angry at my sister's boyfriend, I'm angry at my sister, and I'm angry at myself. I know I shouldn't be, but I am. To make a long story short, my sister was supposed to watch my son a couple of nights ago. She said she wouldn't be off work in time but that her boyfriend could watch him for 30 minutes to an hour before she got off. I thought it would be okay since it wasn't a long period of time. I was so wrong. I got a bad gut feeling when I pulled in to drop him off, but I ignored it. I chalked it up to anxiety and convinced myself I was just being selfish because I wanted a fun night out. I got a call about 45 minutes after dropping him off. Sister's boyfriend just came to sister's workplace, beat her up, crashed her car, and took off with my child, in the crashed car. I'm sorry, my name. I called back, and she told me they had found him but that I couldn't see him yet. I instantly thought he was dead. That was the worst 6 minutes of my life. Basically, my sister tried to break up with him that morning, but in his eyes, she wasn't allowed to break up with him, and that's what started all of this. I guess he was using their dog as a hostage at first, so my sister got our other sister to get the dog out of that situation. She said she was going to tell me not to drop off my child, but he was acting fine and had calmed down, so she didn't. I really wish she had told me, and I'm mad that she didn't. I would have never dropped him off. He pulled up to her workplace and told her that if she didn't come out, he would harm my child. He sped off into an alleyway by her work and strangled her. He told her, "Do you really want to break up with me? I just want you to know if you break up with me and my child are gonna go on a ride." She said no, and he called her a liar, then crashed into her job sign, totaling her car. He told her that if she tried to run or scream for help, he would unalive my child. He hit her again, more arguing happened, and then he started to speed off to try to kidnap her, but she jumped out of the car and ran screaming into her job. The police found my child alone in their apartment with the door locked. He had dropped him off and took off on foot. He turned himself in after hiding for about an hour, crying and admitting everything. My child is fine, he didn't know what was going on and thought they were playing, but I am not okay. My sister isn't okay. She's been left with a large financial burden since they lived together, is out of a car, and is traumatized. I feel so bad for being angry with her. I know I wouldn't know what to do in that situation as I've never been in it, and she was in fight or flight mode, but I am angry. Irrational or not, I'm angry that she didn't let me know they were having problems. I'm angry that she jumped out of the car screaming after he said he'd unalive my child. I'm angry that I wasn't told immediately. But I also feel bad. I've always been my sister's protector, and I wasn't even worried about her while this was going on. I was only worried about my child. I feel angrier that my child was involved than about what happened to her, and that's terrible. I don't know why I feel this way, and I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do from here. I want to make a post exposing him, but I know she doesn't want that. I want to press personal charges or sue him, but I don't think she wants that either. I just don't know what to do or how to deal with my feelings. My family doesn't even want to talk about it. There's so much more I could say, but at the end of the day, I am so thankful that my child is okay. I prayed so hard. I'm thankful my sister is physically okay, with only mild bruising. And I'm thankful he's in jail, just hoping for a strong sentence. Edit. I feel like there is some confusion. The dog hostage situation happened around 1 or 2 p.m., and I dropped my son off at 7:45 p.m. Not to say it wasn't bad judgment, but there was a good chunk of time in between the instances. However, I do not wish to condemn my sister or press charges against her. That wasn't the point of this post. She was just as surprised by this as I was. She was not covering for her abusive boyfriend, she had a bad lapse in judgment. She immediately ran into her job screaming to call the police and help get him in jail. I definitely will be more cautious moving forward, but please refrain from the super harsh comments about my sister. She didn't intend for this to happen. You all have helped me feel justified in my anger, though, and I really appreciate that. Maybe it's because she's my sister and doesn't have a bad bone in her body, but you are right. Her dog is her baby, she definitely cares more about him than her nephew, and if it were him in the car, I don't think she would have jumped out. But I'll just have to sit with this for a while. Additional info. I forgot to mention, But he took a Xanax, I'm assuming, right after I left. So, he was under the influence as well, doesn't have a license, and was planning to do this the whole time. I think that's the most chilling thing of all. He looked me in the eyes and said, "Your child has a safe place to stay tonight," before I left. He just seemed so calm and normal. I never expected this to happen. Update 7 months later. It happened back in May. He ended up only getting 6 years of probation. Right before my sister was set to testify, they came and told her he had taken a plea deal. She was removed from the case and couldn't get any updates after that, as it was no longer her case. His mom ended up sending me a very hateful, abuse-enabling, and victim-blaming message on October 8th. He died on November 22nd, either from an overdose, suicide, or both. I'm not completely sure. Not much of an update. I don't really know how to feel. I'm glad he can't hurt anybody else, but I'm sad he didn't get a just sentence and took the easy way out. I don't know. It's been a weird month. Edit. I realized I left some things out. He ended up posting bail after all this. I guess his family did indeed have money. About 2 weeks after this happened, my sister left work and found him asleep in her car. She got a coworker to take her home, and the next morning he showed up at her house. She called the police, and he was arrested, this time without bail. He ended up getting a good lawyer, and the rest is history. My sister and I have not been on speaking terms since June, aside from occasionally exchanging a few words on Sundays when we meet with family. After his death, we unblocked each other and have been in low contact. Hopefully, we can move forward and work on our relationship. Commenter. Why were you and your sister on bad terms because of this? This doesn't really sound like her fault, which is why I'm wondering, if you don't mind sharing, of course. Ops response. Just the stuff that happened, her not telling me she was trying to break up with him that day, and that he was holding their dog hostage just hours prior to the situation. I was going to have my parents watch him, but then she offered, and since she rarely watched him, I thought it would be good for them to bond, just for all of that to happen. I was willing to work through it, but then during the case, she wasn't telling me any information about it, even though I was constantly asking. She just seemed to not want to be bothered by it, drinking a lot and trying to move on. I get it, but she made it all about her pain and acted like I wasn't also traumatized, which just frustrated and bothered me. That, coupled with a past issue that got brought up, sent it into full-blown no contact. Commenter. The mom sent you a hateful message? Why you and not the sister? This makes no sense. You didn't date him. Ops response. Oh, believe me, she sent one to my sister too. I posted about the situation on Facebook back when it happened, and I guess she didn't see it until she messaged me. But she was basically like, "You're slandering my son. I'm going to call the cops if you don't remove it," along with a whole bunch of victim-blaming BS. She said my sister spitting in his face, in retaliation to him trying to assault her, by the way, was abuse. And he beat her for it afterward, but of course, she didn't mention that part, or rather, he lied about it.